Hello and welcome to this very last session for the Information Day for Undergraduate Admissions 2020 at the University of Hong Kong. And today what we would like to do is for some of the overseas audience who may not have had a chance to listen to us earlier, to provide you with some information about the University of Hong Kong and also the application for undergraduate admissions to the university. Each year we actually receive a lot of applications from students, and on each of these applications we actually get to read their personal statement, and they will tell us what their aspirations are. It may be about them wanting to be a surgeon, a lawyer, chief financial officer, research scientist, all of that. And all of these are actually very tangible, real aspirations that students would like to achieve. But at the University of Hong Kong, we are actually trying to push that boundary a little bit more, to challenge everyone a little bit more. Because at the university, we are not looking to just create or impart knowledge. The idea behind the university and what we're trying to do is to provide a platform where students can be nurtured and be matured into an inspiration for everyone in the community. And that is what we are meaning when we say aspire to inspire at the University of Hong Kong. And today, maybe what I can start off with is to share with you some of the inspirational stories that students, alumni, researchers at HKU has achieved over the years. Actually, very recently, we have a team of students that was a project that was started by some engineering students 4 or 5 years back, looking to raise interest in ocean exploration. But along the way, in achieving that, inspiring people to be interested in about ocean exploration, they ended up breaking a Guinness World Record on the way, and that was actually in January of the year. Or you might be looking at improving mental healthness, raising awareness for mental healthness, improving youth therapy sessions. And with all of that, the students managed to actually win the world champion in the Microsoft Imaging Cup contest. Another way, advancing science, and I think these are things that are very timely to us as well. For students, for researchers, for scientists, they might be thinking about they wish to advance science in their research and have a very practical use. Very recently, a team of HKU researchers have discovered the antiviral strategy in combating COVID-19, and that was a very recent and very valuable contribution in our fight to make sure in our fight against the pandemic as well. What do students actually do and when they're going through the university experience? Picked out some keywords of when we interviewed these students or alumni, what they thought about their experience at HKU, and here's what they came back with. Intellectual rigor. Definitely the University of Hong Kong is a school that asks students to contribute academically. Many of our students actually matriculate through their undergraduate degree programs within the stipulated 4-year time frame, and they matriculate because we expect our students to matriculate, to be intellectually rigorous in their studies. There are also abundance of experience for students to take part in terms of building up their profile, building up their attributes so that they can actually be an inspiration. Part of that might be a research experience that students will go through, or a capstone project that all students will be completing in their 4th year that will combine and add together, integrate the knowledge they've gained over the 4 years. For social sciences students, a part of their education will be about social innovation, about them connecting with the local community as well. Other things that is very trademark of the HKU education is that we offer students a flexible curriculum. And in the flexible curriculum, we ask our students to be very active learners. When you're an active learner, you're imagining a lot of different possibilities. And that is also another way where you can truly find your own path at the University of Hong Kong and create your own experience. You mix and match your courses, you mix and match your opportunities like internships, like exchanges, overseas studying trips. All of these come together so that you have a very unique and individual experience. What you will also find is a wealth of support that is available at the University of Hong Kong. Alumni will attest to that. Terrence is actually an alum who has started his own sustainable, his own shop, his own startup that is working in terms of food sustainability. What he is doing is he is taking food that is close to expiration date or close to use by date and selling it in his shops for the communities in need at a reduced price. So these are actually projects and ideas that were created at the university because they have something they would like to achieve, because they are trying to inspire others to achieve a higher goal. And with that, that is why we are very glad to see our graduates have very good employability records. 13 years, consecutive years, where we have a virtually 100% employment rate for our graduates, and our graduates actually rank 9th most employable graduates in the world. Part of the reason why we think that is the case is because the university is very highly regarded and recognized in the world. If we go by any of the rankings, it is telling us that the degree that you will be earning from the University of Hong Kong will be very transferable, will be very portable, and you're not limited to just 1 or 2 specific disciplines. The University of Hong Kong is a comprehensive university. By that we mean we have programs that are offered across disciplines, across faculties, and you will see actually we have disciplines that are very highly recognized in the world, regardless of which areas of studies you might be interested in as well. Our students are also learning from very world-class researchers. Many of them, over 100 of them, rank amongst the world's top 1% in terms of their research output. International faculty, over 60% of our faculty members are actually from international faculty, professoriate staff that will be involved in the teaching and learning. Students are also looking at your experience, and part of that is a whole person education at the University of Hong Kong, where we build up the platform for students to find what you're truly interested in. You're looking at over 130 clubs and societies that you may be part of, sports teams, cultural associations that you can take part in as well, or you might be part of members of one of the residential halls or colleges. Another thing that you might be finding, looking at food options, restaurants, food outlets, Asian, international cuisines, all of these options will be there to make sure you have a supported and also comfortable student life at the university. Now, the university offers 41 undergraduate degree programs across 10 faculties. These are undergraduate degree programs that have a wider spectrum of specializations. If we count the number of majors, minors, disciplines that are available to students, you will find approximately 100 choices available to you. Among all of these, there are also some very unique programs that you might look at. We call them interdisciplinary programs. So one of them may be the Bachelor of Arts and Sciences. In addition to the comprehensive Bachelor of Arts and Sciences program within the Faculty of Social Sciences, you will also find specific programs within this family, like Design Plus, that deals specifically with design thinking, applied artificial intelligence, financial technology, or global health and development subjects. Another program that you might be interested in that is actually a cross-discipline in a double degree nature is the Global Engineering and Business program. This program, we're asking students to combine their expertise and specialties. At the end of 5 years, you will actually be gaining an engineering accreditation and at the same time be graduating with a major, a specialty in the business field. All of these are very helpful because when we look at very recent research, recent reports by the World Economic Forum, we're looking at jobs. A lot of the old traditional jobs might be in decline, but what is called jobs of tomorrows are being created. And these are programs that would allow students to earn the interdisciplinary skills, complex problem solving, analytical skills, interpersonal relations issues. All of these will be available for students to earn in the program so that they will be successful and they will be desirable graduates for companies to hire as we move into a newer model of economy and employment. Some of the programs that you might be thinking about may not be as interdisciplinary in nature at the University of Hong Kong, but we still ask our students to design your own specialties. Some of you may be thinking about a more traditional route where you go into a traditional field, a professional field like medicine, nursing, architecture, engineering, or you might be truly looking at majors that will combine disciplines across faculties, across units. When you are doing that, when you're adding one major plus another major, what we expect you will come out of it is you will be gaining results, attaining results that is more than 2. In that sense, you have more connections because you're integrating resources from different disciplines. You have more skill sets because it's not just 1+1 skill sets from different disciplines. You're integrating and creating new ideas out of it. You have more exposures out of your experience as well. And in terms of experience, our students are definitely not limited to Hong Kong in itself. In the past years before the pandemic, we actually record over 100,000, over 10,000 number of visits for students who've taken overseas learning experience as well. These are things that they've done, maybe a short-term study trip abroad. It might be a course that they've done. It might be an exchange program. It might be a field trip. All of these enrich the life of our students. We are active partners with over 3,070 partners in the world in 45 different destinations. And on top of that, some of you who would like to challenge yourself may be thinking about a university collaborative program. These are dual degree programs or joint admission schemes that we have with well-renowned universities. I'm sure many of you already know the names on the screen for you. That these universities join together with the University of Hong Kong in offering a 4 or 5 year university experience, where at the end, the graduates will actually be awarded degrees from 2 institutions. If you imagine that, what you're gaining out of this experience will be more than just 2 degrees. You're having the network, alumni connection from partners around the world. You are actually experiencing different culture. The term of globalization has been thrown around for a number of years now. Everyone is looking at how to globalize your experience. What these dual degrees will actually help you achieve is to achieve a sense of localization. What it means is taking the global ideas and making it applicable to your own culture, making it applicable to your society, integrating the knowledge. And again, that is why we're looking for students at the university who is looking to be an inspiration, because when you combine different ideas and combine different experiences together, you chart your own pathways and you will find ways to inspire others with what you've gone through as well. Now, I've talked a little bit about the university already in the past 10-15 minutes. What I would like to do now is to provide you with more information about the application, especially for those of you who are looking to enter the University of Hong Kong in fall 2021. When we say that it is an international admissions process, this is actually for students who are completing an IB diploma, GCE A-level, a Canadian high school, a provincial exam, French baccalaureate, any regional or national examination. It does not have to be, you do not have to be an international or non-local student to apply through this scheme. You might be a local student, but you're studying one of these curriculum and you will be applying to the university through this international non-JUPAS application. The key thing to remember is that the University of Hong Kong has a first round evaluation that is due on November 18th of this year. What it means is that when we take students in, and by November 18th, we know the students are very keen and interested in the University of Hong Kong, and we will be proceeding to arrange interviews for shortlisted candidates. We'll be arranging evaluations on these profiles, and we aim to inform students and applicants of their application decision in the new year, very much in January and February. For those of you who may not feel exactly ready yet, the university is going to maintain the application system to be open in a rolling admission sense all the way until August. However, you do have to realize that when you're applying through rolling admissions, it will be subject to program availability. One of the key things to keep in mind when you're looking at applying to the University of Hong Kong is to make sure you check the expected lower boundaries. This information is posted and available on the website. And when you look at that, they will tell you specific general information like the one you're seeing on the screen right now. For an IB diploma student, you might be looking at a range of 31 to 45 in terms of the lower boundaries. It's a huge range because the University of Hong Kong actually has over 40 undergraduate degree programs, and each of them may have a slightly different expected lower boundary. These boundaries are not supposed to be used as requirements for entry. Instead, you are using this to assess your own application, to determine whether or not you are putting forward an academic profile that is competitive for the program you're looking for. So use these as reference and use these as guidelines as you complete the application for the University of Hong Kong. For those of you who might be thinking about application, keep in mind that the University of Hong Kong is test optional for students whose qualification has an exit examination by the examination board. So what it means that for an IB diploma student, because you already go through the IB examination You are not required to submit any additional public examination. The same for the same for a GCE A-level student, the same for any French baccalaureate students. So as long as there is already a public examination or assessment attached to your qualification, you're not required to submit an SAT for assessment at the university. However, you might wish to also consult what we call program-specific requirements for admissions. These, again, they're on the admissions website, and they inform you specifically about the program to which you're submitting an application. What are things that you need to watch out for? Some examples and ideas of that you might see if you're applying for an engineering program. They will look specifically at your math and physics. If you're looking at medicine, medical or Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery program, they might be looking specifically at your chemistry. Other things you might find is some of the business programs might expect students to have a higher level of English proficiency. If you're applying for architectural studies, they do have an aptitude exercise that they wish their students would complete. All of these information, again, is on the admissions website, and you can refer to that to the specific program to which you're interested in. The University of Hong Kong is an English medium institution. Our programs are taught in English, and therefore we do ask our applicants to provide a proof of language proficiency for English. It may be in the form of an IELTS or TOEFL result. It may be an SAT reasoning test, or you might already have fulfilled it with your secondary school qualifications. So if you have an IB, your Group 1 English will very much likely meet the requirements already, or your GCSE English first language, GCSE English second language, all of that might be applicable as well. So check on the website to see if you already met the requirement. There is also a requirement for a second language proficiency. Now, this does not mean a Chinese requirement. Sometimes we always get the question of students, do I have to know Chinese to enter the University of Hong Kong? And the answer is no, we do not ask our students to have a Chinese proficiency for general admissions. Some programs may ask for communication skills or being able to speak speak Chinese to a certain level because of the need within the program. However, for admissions to the University of Hong Kong, we ask instead for a second language proficiency, which refers to a language other than English. We have seen French, we have seen Spanish, we have seen Korean. I think a number of years ago, I have seen Latin being used on the application. So all of these will be applicable for you. So what I would do is we have the chat function open, we have the Q&A function open, and if you have any questions, feel free to type it in the Q&A, and we will try to answer as many as we can. But as you're doing that, I have a few hints or reminders for you to go through. So first of all, you are able to apply to the university with your predicted results. So even before your final results are released, you are able to submit an application. Just make sure that on your application, you provide the university with information on any expected examination or expected qualifications and accreditations that you will achieve. For an IB student or an A-level student, your school may have predicted results or anticipated results to show, and you can actually include the courses that you're currently doing at the program and update the university once the results are available. Provide us with your academic history. I think especially for this year, it is becoming more and more important, especially when many of you have had quite an unusual and abnormal study experience in the past year and a half already. Knowing where you come from, knowing the context of your academic history will be very helpful for our evaluation. So definitely on the application, please let us know what you've been doing in your junior high school, secondary school, all the way onward, and that will be a component that we will look at the application stage. And I've mentioned this a little bit earlier, you are able to update your academic results directly on the application account when you're submitting the application to the University of Hong Kong. Even when your final results are released in July or August, you will have the opportunity to update that, and that will help us process your applications much faster. And finally, you are supplementing your application with one personal statement and two references. When we say references, it could be a teacher, it could be someone whose organization you've interned at, it could be someone who's known you well. The key for all of these is for you to not to outnumber or not to produce in quantity these materials. What we're looking for is a good quality piece that would tell us about your intention, about why you would like to study at HKU, what you'd like to achieve, going back to the idea what sort of inspiration you would like to be as a student at HKU. You upload these information, you upload your personal statement on the application account, and your referees, when you nominate them, will receive an email asking them to provide a confidential reference for your application. And finally, on your application to the University of Hong Kong, you get 5 program choices on the non-JUPAS application or international application route. You do not have to use up all 5. Sometimes students believe that by filling out all the program choices means they're more dedicated and more interested at the university and they get a higher chance of being admitted. All the programs will look at your applications independently and individually. What it means is we look at your application profile and they assess you based on what you presented to see your fit with their particular program. In some cases, you might even get more than one result, more than one offers from the university as well. And you are allowed to keep more than one offers on hand as long as they're conditional offers, as long as your final results have not yet been released. And with that, I think I've covered in the past 20-25 minutes brief information about the university that I hope is helpful for you. I think we have some questions that maybe have typed in, so let me quickly search through that. Sorry, let me. Okay. Any tips for writing personal statement? Qualities that we're looking for in the personal statement. I think briefly touched on that as well. So in the personal statement, we're looking. Maybe this year you're particularly fortunate because we already come out to say we're looking at students who are aspiring to inspire others. How would you like to do that? How would you like to be an inspiration? What sort of academic history you've gone through? What sort of experience have you had that will help you illustrate your intention to study in the course, help you to present to us that you're ready for the course, you're ready for the studies at the university. And within that statement, keep in mind this one statement will be read by all your program choices. So with that, in your personal statement, you may have a chance to actually have to address one program or all your program choices. It is entirely up to you. But we're looking for qualities. In terms of the qualities that we're looking for, definitely we're looking for students who have clearly thought out what they would like to achieve with their degree. The qualities that we're also looking for at the university, actually we do give you a hint of that as well on the application account. On the non-JUPAS application, there is a tab where you put in your extracurricular activities. And on that, we're not looking the number of hours you put into each activities, but we're looking at qualities you've gained and matured and nurtured through these involvements. So we're looking at leadership, we're looking at communication skills, we're looking at global mindedness, to name a few. So these are some of the hints that you might take. Do I have to ask school teachers to write references, and there are references from teachers more preferred? To be honest, I think we work with a lot of the schools that you might be from. We have a very long list of counselors that we're very familiar with. I kept hearing today a lot of the students came up and say they met me at the school. So definitely we have a good relationship with many school partners. Your school counselors or teachers, if they have access, will be able to provide the predicted grade or school transcript directly to HKU for evaluation purposes. At the same time, on that same platform, they will be able to present a reference. We don't particularly request a reference from a school or a teacher, but your teachers are usually one of the best people to provide that reference for you because they are able to tell us your academic history. They've met with you for much longer, they've seen you grow as a student, and they're going to be able to tell us information about your application and about how you learn much easier. So, so for that specifically, we don't have a preference, but I think sometimes if you ask your teachers who are able to illustrate your abilities more, that might help us understand your application better. Is it compulsory to live in the hall and or on campus? No, it's not. For non-local students, your first year access to a hall of residence is guaranteed. You will apply through our CEDARS, which is the Center for Student Development on campus. You apply through them and you will actually be assigned a hall place for your first year. In the subsequent years for non-local students, you will have to apply for readmissions into the halls of colleges. So it depends on whether or not, for your own personal experience, whether you wish to stay at the hall or whether or not you've been involved in the activities as well. Some students may find that after 1 year in the hall of residence, they would prefer to actually live out on their own, to go out and to actually rent an apartment with a few of their friends. The advantage of the University of Hong Kong is that we have our own metro station. It's 10 minutes from a shopping district and on the metro line in Hong Kong. The furthest you will really go is about 2 hours. So even if you are renting a place that is not the closest to the university, you will still have very easy access to the campus, and that's not something you have to worry about. Okay, so back on the personal statement, do I need to write more than one personal statement? So I've gone through that. No, you actually will only be allowed to upload one personal statement. If you have more than one personal statement uploaded to the system, we will look at the latest one as the final version. Is SAT required? Okay, so that goes back to what we were talking about earlier in terms of requirements for the university. For majority of the students, SAT is not a requirement. So if you are completing, like I said, an IB, A-level, Indian board exams, if you're in the Bangladesh high school, if you're in Kazakhstan, all of these have an assessment at the end of your secondary school year that we're able to refer to. So we do not need the SAT. However, if you're in the US high school curriculum, for example, where there's no benchmark assessment upon graduation, for graduation purposes, at that point, we will ask for an SAT and ACT or other form of public examination that will help fulfill the requirement. So it depends on which curriculum you're currently studying right now in secondary school. Not all students are required to submit an SAT. How many years of transcript should I include? So for the application I mentioned earlier, we prefer to actually see your academic history from year 9 onwards. For all the things you put in, you are recommended to actually have a documentation and reference for us, and you can upload that. So throughout your entire evaluation application process to the University of Hong Kong, we are very happy to look at electronic copies. You can upload these documents directly on the application account, and we will be able to evaluate your applications based on that. Do keep an official copy and official or certified copy, because we might ask to see the original copy when we're preparing you for registration to the university. But if you're saying exactly how many years, preferably when you have input since year 9, your academic history, then you have some sort of transcripts or proof of that since year 9. Okay, how much time do we have to respond to offers? Do we have to pay a deposit and pay more than once? The offers from the non-JUPAS international route usually give you about 2 to 4 weeks to respond to the offer of admissions. When you're accepting an offer, you do have to pay a deposit. But if you're receiving more than one offer, you only have to pay one deposit. So your one deposit will be for your admission for the entire year to the University of Hong Kong. We do ask you to respond within the 2 to 4 weeks window. However, if you have difficulty, let us know and we can work with you on a case-by-case basis. But usually we do ask students to keep to the 2 to 4 weeks window just out of fairness for the other students who are also applying. Okay, if I've gone through a lot of these questions, if my predicted grades change later on, how do I notify the office? Good question. Basically, on your application right now, when you're filling out your application, under the academic qualifications tab, you're essentially telling us all the subjects, exams, and your achievements in those. Your predicted result may change and you may be notified of it from your school. And with that, you can simply go onto the application system and update it. If for some reason the tab is locked, you're not able to update this by yourself, feel free to reach out to the university via the chat function on the application account, and we will be able to help you with that. Alternatively, your school may have an updated prediction for you that you are not privy to. In that case, your counselors are more than welcome to reach out to us directly and provide that information for our internal assessment. Okay, so maybe what we can do is we can do one last question before we finish up, let's see. I have a Hong Kong ID, but I'm studying in another country. This is a question we get all the time. So, whether or not you are a local or non-local student is not based on residency. If you're a local student, you are a local student if you do not need a student visa to apply to the University of Hong Kong, meaning you HKID, meaning you have permanent residency here, you will not need a student visa. So always look at whether or not you have permanent residency as a status instead of where you're living or where you're studying right now. So in the case where you have an HKID that allows you permanent residency in Hong Kong, then a student visa is not required and you will be a local student. If you need a student visa to enter into Hong Kong for whatever reasons, then you'll be assessed as a non-local student to the university. So I think time is almost up for this session. Hopefully we managed to get to most of the questions on here. If not, what we will do is we will take the questions that you've typed in and whichever ones we did not get to, we will be posting some of the FAQs on our website following this information day for you to access. So once again, thank you very much for joining us here today and hope you had a fruitful day visiting different booths and faculties. And we look forward to welcoming you on campus in the near future. Thank you.